Leadership is taking initiative and voicing your opinion for the student body to create a fun and safe school environment. Helping out the school and hosting various events to create great memories is one of my favorite things.
Leadership to me is being the one who takes initiative when others don't. As leaders, we speak for those who can't and make sure that everyone is heard. But we are also trusted by others, and that trust is important for us to remain to be leaders. In student government, we speak for the school, the student body as a whole, and that's part of us trying to make sure that everybody is heard. And to me, that's what a leader is all about, just speaking up for those who either can't or won't, and trying to make sure that everyone's needs are met, not just one group or one person's.
Leadership is having the ability to take control of the issues that matter most to you, whether that's in school or throughout the community. Through being a leader, you can make change while also providing learning and enjoyable experiences.
Well, what are the qualities of a leader? To be a leader, you have to be empowering, which is the authority or power given to someone to do something. Resilience, the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. Empathetic, showing an ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Courageous, brave, doing something that frightens one. Discipline, the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior. Respect, a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. What this all means is that these are all potential traits that someone could develop and nurture to become a leader. You don't necessarily have to have these right off the bat, but through experience and through the support of your peers, you can eventually develop and nurture these in whatever leadership position you have.
So one of the major things that a leader has to be able to do is speak in public, or public speaking. So addressing the public is something that a leader has to do quite frequently. You can see this in all leadership roles, whether that role be as exclusive or high up as the President of the United States, or as local as the president of your school, the vice president of your school, your class president, or a president of a local club. All of these roles require some sort of public speaking. So the ability to speak in public is a quality that is needed for a leader. It's essential. You need to be able to speak in public because it can help rally up support for your plans and platforms as a leader, which is essential because you're not going to get anywhere if you don't have any support. And if you can't publicly speak, if you don't have the confidence or you're not good at it, or you just refuse to do it, you're never going to get the support that you need to be successful. Also, when you think about people who are really glorified of great leaders in our time, like Barack Obama, for example, or Abraham Lincoln, all of them were so specifically good at public speaking and giving speeches. So that's something to keep in mind. So public speaking can definitely be scary. A lot of people get stage fright. It is not unnormal. It's not unusual. I used to get stage fright. I've done a lot of acting. I've done a lot of improv and comedy. So that helps me get past my stage fright. I did debate, so that was helpful too. So if you're looking to build confidence and get better at public speaking or just being in front of an audience or people, definitely improv, definitely debate. I would recommend the first thing you do in improv or in acting is you embarrass yourself because you need to be comfortable with the audience because you're never gonna have a good performance unless you're comfortable. And debate, you have to speak in front of people and you're judged on the way you speak. So, and you get a lot of good constructive criticism from that. So definitely if you want to work on public speaking and are looking for activities to do that within, definitely debate and acting and some sort of theater. Another tip is if you practice your speeches in front of a mirror and other people every night. So get used to saying your speech in front of people, say it to yourself, see how it looks, things you'll critique, you need to make eye contact, you're making too much eye contact, you're making less eye contact, you're stuttering. And the more you practice, eventually it'll just become public second nature. Right now, I'm talking to I'm talking to a screen, but eventually it becomes much easier. than it was when you first started, and it's natural. So I compiled a list of 6 tips that I would recommend for public speaking. So the first tip is to practice your speech several times in front of the mirror. The first thing that you'll do before a debate that they'll tell you to do is to practice your speech in front of a mirror. That way you can see the way you deliver your speech, what it looks like, what other people are going to see. You know, a lot of people can memorize from like lip reading and like looking at like what the motions your lips are making. I don't know, that's maybe a stretch, but you know, it's just really important to practice in front of a mirror, to be able to read your speech and to know like, okay, like now I can look up, now I can make eye contact, but I still know what the next couple words are. And you just need to keep practicing that so that you get it perfect. Again, touching on that, make eye contact. If you are reading from a piece of paper, in debate, you'd get like a very low speaker score. But if you're reading from a paper, it's not personal. People are not going to react to your speech. You know, if you're like really like reading like this and then you're like reading. And also like when you're reading, it's easier not to put emphasis on certain parts and you just kind of read things monotone. And like when you're not making eye contact or, you know, when you're just reading, it's easy to mess up. It's easy. And then to not like emphasize different parts. It's like when you're reading, you're not talking normally. And if you're not talking normally, you're not going to make a connection with the audience because it's going to feel so informal. It's going to be hard to listen to you. It'll be like a robot, like droning on and on. So you need to make eye contact. It is one of the things that makes speaking the most personable. Like imagine like, you know, like if I was talking to you and, you know, I was just talking, like looking down this entire time and like making no eye contact. Like it's a much different reaction. It feels less like a natural conversation than if I'm constantly making eye contact and like looking you in the eyes and responding. And it makes the speech so much more personal. So again, building off of that, to emphasize parts of your speech, you want to be conversational and engaging in your tone. You don't want it to sound monotone and bore your audience. Right? So you need them, especially if you're giving long speeches, which a lot of public speakers and leaders do. You're going to be talking for a long time. So you want to keep people engaged, because why would you write like a long, brilliant speech if you're just going to read it like this and nobody's going to want to listen to it because you're reading it like this? Like no one's going to want to do that. But like if you're talking naturally like this and you're like, blah, 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 XYZ, like, you know, people react more, will listen more, they'll pick up on more because it'll be more natural, it'll be more conversational, they'll think about what you're saying, that if you're just like reading it like in the tone of a robot. Fourth, use pauses, pace yourself. Don't rush through your speech. People won't understand you. So I personally did the type of debate they call, what is it? Public forum? Can't believe I forget now. But that's the kind of like where your speech can be complicated, but it has to be delivered in a way that could be understood by the public. And there's other types of debate where you can like spread, I think it's called, where you're like talking really fast like this and you're like X, Y, and Z, and get such one is like this. And like people can understand that if they're like really high level debaters. But if you're a leader, you're not leading a group of high level debaters or people who are used, even the most educated people most likely would not be able to understand you unless they had that specific niche. If they were really good at debate, if you're talking like, oh, and this is why, blah, 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 no one's going to understand you. And if no one understands you, then no one gets anything out of the speech. And it's a fail because you wrote the speech for nothing. You get nothing out of it if no one understands or listens or relates or, you know, that. It's also something to like speak really fast, like when you're nervous, to like get through it fast, but that just shows that you're more nervous when you speak really fast. And it's just not great for your delivery. Know your audience. Know who you're speaking to. Are you speaking to a group of middle schoolers? Are you speaking to a class that knows a lot about this specific subject? Are you speaking to, you know, a group of Democrats, a group of Republicans, if you're a politician? Like, who are you trying to reach out to? And when you know your audience, you know what things you'll say that they'll relate to or they'll touch on, and that's the way you can rally up more support, or you can make it more personal. Because if you're talking about something that they're not necessarily concerned about, they're not going to be concerned about what you're talking about, because that's just the way people are. So the last tip is, if you mess up, it's okay. Take a breath and keep going. If you mess up, I've messed up probably in this presentation, literally. I mess up all the time, and I used to be like, okay, can I start again? Like, when you start again, that just makes the mistake so much bigger, because now it's like, sometimes you can make a mistake and people won't even notice it but you, but like when you start again, now it's like this huge move, like you just gave a speech, messed up, now you're starting again. Everybody knows you made a mistake. That, points are taken off in people's mental maps about how good of a public speaker you are. When you mess up, take a breath, say the word again, and keep going. Don't stop. Don't freak out. Don't go back. Don't start again. That just makes it a much bigger deal.
What does leadership do at Academy of American Studies? At the Academy of American Studies, the members of student government are the leaders of the school. Student government members plan and host all the events for the students to socialize and enjoy their high school experience. We create events such as Trivia Day, Movie Night, Freshman Mixer, Canned Food Drive, Art Contest, and Big Sib. Lately, we have been trying to bring attention to certain issues through Zoom seminars from the Awareness Committee, weekly update emails, and school podcast, The Daily Eagle. Student government representatives also meet with the school's administration to discuss certain topics from the student's perspective in order to better the school.
Because of the various responsibilities that a leader has, many people often have many misconceptions that revolve around holding the position of a leader. These misconceptions are usually not thought out much and can be easily debunked. Firstly, people tend to have the idea that leaders have to do all the work in the group. This isn't true because leaders often incorporate the ideas of their group into a plan aimed at getting things done efficiently. When a leader only focuses on their own ideas, then a good plan isn't decided on, and the end product of a certain project isn't as good as it could be with all people working in a group. This is why it's best to get the ideas of multiple people when working on fulfilling a certain goal or project. Secondly, people tend to think that leaders need to be strict. This isn't true. A good leader is one who is able to work with others in a flexible manner so that a common goal can be achieved efficiently. When leaders are more laid back in a group project or something along those lines, people tend to feel more comfortable about giving their ideas, and multiple viewpoints can be heard, which can lead to a better end product being reached. Lastly, people tend to think that only a leader's voice matters. This point kind of ties in with the first one. Part of a leader's duties include making sure all people's ideas and opinions are heard and accounted for. If only the leader is talking, then a good end product isn't going to be reached. A plan is going to be very simple-minded and straightforward, and there's not going to be much creativity involved. When multiple voices are heard, we're able to hear multiple viewpoints that sometimes contrast with one another. With these contrasting viewpoints, the group can collectively decide which rule in fulfilling a certain goal is best for them. These misconceptions about being a leader can be dangerous and can repel people away from leading a certain group. But people need to look past the misconceptions, and once given thought, being a leader isn't that hard. Leaders just kind of have to lead the charge and make sure that their work is reflective of all the people within a certain group.
Are you interested in becoming a leader at Academy of American Studies? If so, please apply to student government, and you could use this application form due May 30th.